Hey everyone, I hope you've been having a wonderful day. Happy New Year and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Ruby Joy and I have a very special guest today, my very best friend Jackson McAlister.
As AMC Stubs members, Ruby and I go to the movies every single week and see every movie that we possibly can ever.
Yes. And so I would say we are like self-acclaimed film critics, very good ones, very serious. I think we could actually pick movies for the
Oscars.
The Oscars.
Were you?
But we just thought it would be fun to make a list of all of our favorite movies of 2018.
Yeah.
Well, we have to put in there that we're not drinking alcohol.
There's like a flashing sign. This is non-alcoholic.
There's so much, like,
You know something really mean?
non-alcoholic. I'm at the bottom of the bottle. I've been
knocking them down. Cheers.
Not yet. Okay. So in no specific order except for like the first few, we're just really gonna talk about all the ones that we enjoyed the most.
Here's the thing. There was this movie in like March called Annihilation and no one ever saw it. Not a single soul on the whole planet. But me and Ruby did.
Only because Natalie Portman was
Only
the
because
star.
Natalie Portman was in it. Well, Oscar Isaac was also in it.
Yeah.
It was our favorite movie. Right? Mm-hmm. Of the whole year.
Yeah. So Annihilation is a thriller, like an actual psych thriller, and
It's actually a lot like Black Mirror.
it's okay.
It's a lot like Black Mirror.
Okay. And it follows Natalie's character into this thing called the Shimmer, and it's super like futuristic, and it's like aliens,
and
and
weird stuff's happening.
It just doesn't make sense, but we really try to understand these types of things like way
we go
too
crazy.
much. It got to the point where when we had to take the ACT, any like break in between any subject, we'd turn around at each other and we'd be like, so 4 days.
They don't get my 4 days.
I know, but it was only showing in our movie theater for like the shortest amount of time.
Oh.
And so
okay.
We were begging like AMC to just play it.
We tweeted them.
I mean,
oh, do you not want to say that? Like freaks. We really wanted to see it again, and we were like tweeting the movie theater and like calling them and asking our friend who works there. We were like, can you show the movie? There was an incident surrounding this movie, and we really wanted to see it, and our movie theater wasn't showing it, and I had not turned 17 yet. This is like in March, like late March.
Was it March, yeah. And Annihilation was R-rated, but our lovely movie theater did not check our IDs, which we're thankful for. The first time we saw it, so
who they are, though.
We're not gonna say who they are.
We found this one theater that was showing it, but since I wasn't 17 yet, I couldn't buy my own ticket to the movie.
Dear God.
So we were like, oh, it's fine. We'll just movie jump. You know, everyone movie jumps. It's never really a big deal.
We had never done it before.
And we just don't do it. We're good people. We go to this new movie theater, and I think we bought tickets for Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, like
for the Sherlock Gnomes movie. And we were like, it's fine, we'll just get those tickets and we'll just pop on over to Annihilation and see it. So we get into that like lobby, and our theater for Annihilation was like to the left, down a staircase over like just this maze in the movie theater. And then the movie theater,
Sherlock Gnomes was like in theater number 1, like right there in the lobby.
to the right. Like,
So
right
when
in
we
the
got
lobby.
our like tickets checked, she very much pointed to like that.
She was like, go that way, please.
And we were like, great.
Your
So
movie.
what do? We walk into that theater first. We freak out.
We're on
Then
the
we're
floor.
very loud. We're screaming. And then we walk out of that theater, and then we find the Annihilation theater.
We also didn't realize that it was all assigned seating. We were like, oh, nobody will be expecting to have their own seat, so if we get, it's like, it'll be fine. So we walk into the Annihilation theater and every seat is taken. It was completely sold out, which when we saw it the first time, we were like the only 2 people in the whole place. Like, it's never sold out. No one knows what this movie is. Anyway, and so we were like, oh, we'll just like stand here and try and just see if like somebody leaves or if there's another seat that opens or I don't know, whatever. And so we're just kind of like standing in the walkway in between the door and the like screen and all the seats and things. And this like employee just like walks up and
he's just standing there behind us, and we're just like, obviously, I mean, it's just so obvious how we are just theater hopping, and it's funny because this is like such a little situation, but it freaked us out so bad. But he's just standing there, and he like is asking us if we need help for our seats, and we're like, oh, we're waiting for someone.
Waiting on our friend, thanks. The movie starts, like the movie is starting. This guy has not left, the seats are not open, we are freaking out. And we were like texting each other, like standing next to each other, so freaking out. Ruby fakes a phone call right when like 3 more people walk in, and the 2 of us just like leave, and we get out there and there's like a police officer, a manager, like 3 employees. God. It was really scary. It's really just, you know. And that, kids, is how we almost got arrested.
That's how we did get arrested. Now, Oscar Isaac, one of our favorites, was in Annihilation. So still with him, there was a film called Life Itself, which I think was September, October.
Oh, late September.
Yeah, and we actually really loved that freaking movie. It was so good, and it's just like all these different storylines that all end up connecting. It was from the same producers who made This Is Us, I think.
Yeah.
And so it was like a really good movie about like family and connection and relationships, and we cried, and it really did leave at least a heavy impact on me. I think it really changed my perception about certain things, and Oscar looked really good in it, so
we love
it was really good. So that one is wonderful.
Of course.
Our next favorite movie is a very obvious one, and I'm gonna assume that it's like everybody's favorite of this year, but it's A Star Is Born with Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper. I think it's obvious why we loved this movie.
It's just so good. It's perfect in every way.
I know, we were really excited, obviously, and we love Gaga and we love Bradley Cooper. But I had actually seen the 3 previous ones, so I was very happy to see how it reflected like the same aspects of those. I really like how they all still, I don't know,
follow the same storyline.
Yeah, and I really liked how this movie wasn't so much like the exact same thing. Like it was very different.
It didn't feel like a remake. It felt like a rendition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was very sweet, and we loved it, and we just had to mention it.
We saw it twice.
I've seen it 3 times.
Oh, yeah. You saw it.
Yeah, I've seen it 3 times. Now, the same day that we saw Annihilation for the first time, we saw Love, Simon, which that was like a very special day for us.
That was a very fun day, and Love, Simon, I saw it 3 times. Anyway, so it was really faithful to the book. I loved the book personally, and I thought it was really respectful and didn't necessarily do anything problematic or offensively. Anyway, what are your thoughts?
Well, I do think, I know there was controversy with Nick Robinson being a straight male playing a gay character, and I do understand that. Obviously, I'm not in that position of those minorities, so I understand how the representation might have been
misinterpreted.
Yeah, like misperceived. But I do still think it's very important that that was like a start for those kinds of love story, like a normal kind of love story in mainstream media. And I still, I personally do love that movie, and I think it was beautiful, and it made me cry.
Yeah, it was.
But I do think it is important, and I do understand the controversy though, and I do see how I would hope that in the future of entertainment that it would be more inclusive to the cast, like who's cast with different kinds of actors.
There's a lot of sides to that situation too.
But I think we really loved it. So
we did.
But also on the same track with being inclusive in mainstream media with those kinds of issues, which is really sad. The movie Boy Erased. I have never cried so hard in a movie ever in my life, truly. I think that movie is really important to bring light, even though there should just have always been light on this thing, but with conversion therapy. The 90s or the early 2000s? I think
early 2000s.
Early 2000s. It was a true story. And Lucas Hedges and Nicole Kidman were like the 2
Russell Crowe was in it.
Joel Edgerton.
Troye Sivan was in it.
Troye Sivan was in it.
One of those movies that was really, really good, but really hard to watch, I think, like for me. And you know, it's a true story, and it's something that's still happening every single day. Was it 36
states? I was
going
to say 37 or 36 states still have legal conversion therapy.
Where it's illegal,
But I think with this movie, not that it was like uncomfort as in I didn't want to watch it, but I think it's...
the necessary uncomfort.
I was going to say, I think it's important when entertainment kind of puts uncomfortable, like real situations in movies, because the point that makes you uncomfortable is for you to realize that that's real. And if you are uncomfortable, then you're reacting in the right way to something so horrible. But I really appreciated that movie, obviously, because it was just beautifully made, and it was very important about something that really sucks and is still real. So, right, Bohemian Rhapsody?
Yeah. You want to take it?
Yeah. One of the biggest movies of 2018, which I'm sure is also on everybody's like favorite list, is Bohemian Rhapsody. The beautiful story of Freddie Mercury. And I know there are some things that were altered in the film version just to like change it for
story purposes.
That. But you know, I'm sure everyone knows what it is. It just follows the story of Queen starting and specifically Freddie's story and how he was struggling to understand his sexuality and how there is very little like knowledge or education on the AIDS crisis and how he sadly had to deal with that in a very private way, and he struggled to understand that and people would struggle to accept that. But I think it told that story beautifully, even though some things were altered. I think it was a beautiful portrayal of what he went through.
Yeah, and also the actor that played him, I think just played him perfectly in every way. Actually, the whole cast was really good.
Oh, the drummer.
The drummer.
The drummer.
The drummer.
But we also saw movies that we loved, like, you know, Operation Finale or A Simple Favor, or even more heavy movies like Beautiful Boy. I mean, we really...
Beautiful Boy. Hold on.
We really loved that one.
Beautiful Boy was so good.
Yeah.
Also a true story. What was it? Steve Carell, Timothée Chalamet, and it's this beautiful story about this son who is dealing with really heavy drug addiction and his family trying to help him, but also just figure out how they can deal with it. It's just an insane... It was
a really sad but beautiful story that also like had some light on real drug addiction problems and how families really do deal with that, because you know, I feel like sometimes in film it is just kind of portrayed as like, obviously it is very negative, I think it's very terrible, but I think it still shows that like there is a relationship there with your family and people will still care and they'll try even though it's out of their reach.
Yeah, and I think this movie showed the side of the story that's more as what am I saying? I think this movie showed more that addiction is... One more time, I promise. Last take. I think this movie showed more that addiction is a disease. And a lot of, I think, situations portrayed in media show it as such a choice, such a decision to ruin your life. But also the ending. I think the ending of that movie was one of my favorite endings to any movie ever. Anyway. Okay.
But then, of course, there was Black Panther for obvious reasons, and Ant-Man and the Wasp, and then Infinity War, even though I hated it.
Our Marvel films of the year.
Yeah, I hated that one.
We're going to be talking about this for hours. What are we doing?
I know. Watching it. And lastly, we're gonna talk about our new favorite movie that we have devoted so much of our time to.
Too much time to.
And it's called Blackbeard Bandersnatch.
So, I know all of you have seen this movie. I know everyone has. But this movie has just consumed every single waking minute of my life for the past week. And it's really the most crazy thing to ever happen. What am I saying? What am I saying out loud? I'm sure you know what it is.
It is the Black Mirror Choose Your Adventure Netflix movie, which is quite crazy, and there's supposedly like a total of 50 hours of this movie.
But there's only 5 endings, right?
But that doesn't make sense, and I just don't even know.
You want to talk about this right now?
But so Jackson and I, we watched this together. We have watched a total of 8 hours, like just going back and doing everything and trying to, like, we're trying so hard to understand it and find like the hidden message to really get to the bottom of it. And it's currently what my life is all about right now.
Try it again.
Okay.
Try again. I'm telling you to say it, I swear. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
That was
Bandersnatch is real, I'm telling you.
Rainberry, please, you think I'm on my knees, but don't you worry. I know what you don't know. Don't even start.
So happy new year. We do recommend like all of these movies to everybody. Some of them are heavy though, so I would do your research before you watch. Mega trigger warnings.
Mega trigger
warnings. But they are really good, and we're excited for all of the AMC stubs members movies. So we hope you had a wonderful 2018, and if you considerably didn't, well then I hope you are reflecting on all of that and you're learning to grow from it, and I hope that 2019 is just your year to shine and to learn and to grow.
This.
You do, and that was the cheesiest thing I think we've ever done. But I'm serious though, I really do hope that everybody has a wonderful new year, and I will see you on Tuesday. Goodbye.
Y'all seen Vox Lux yet? How's it going? And a book that looks like Star is Born. We thought it was...
So Jackson and I are very obsessed with going to the movie theater all the time. We're gonna shake the table a lot.
That was gonna be great.
Because we're always gonna be like,
That was a good one.
yeah, but that did not.
I was gonna say that we failed our ACTs because of it, but if my mom saw that, she'd be like, what?
We got the Stranger Things season 3 release date at midnight.
After like January 2nd.
It wasn't even funny.
I know, why are we laughing about
I don't know. Okay.
Why is my face so red?
It's not
It
red.
looks like the dot in the corner.
The recording dot?
Yeah, look, my face is the same color as that. It's like, stop.
Okay.
Let me get discovered. Will you
So
mad at me?
we have to keep now. We have to tell her. And okay.
Just
Wait, I heard what you said.
said.